Sūrah al-Raḥmān. Sūrah al-Raḥmān, which is Surah 55, ayah number 31. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. سنفرغ لكم أيها الثقلان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the previous ayat that He is always in some affair. He's always in a mode, which means He's also doing a lot of things. فَعَالٌ لِمَا يُرِيدُ, super active, engaged in whatever He intends to do. So whatever happens in the cosmos, in the universe, in this world, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is engaged with that microscopically and macroscopically also both. So He is doing so many things at one time. His one amr creates so much, one hukum creates so much in the universe, it is impossible to compute. Talk about multitasking. Seen people value their ability to do multitasking, 2 or 3 things at the same time. But Allah's multitasking is astronomical. And He's always engaged. He's always doing things. فَعَالٌ لِمَا يُرِيدُ. So obviously in the رَبَّكَ هُوَ الْخَلَّاقُ الْعَلِيمُ, your Lord is the most supreme, dynamic, constant creator, the one who's all knowledgeable. So there's not a moment in which Allah does not create, Allah does not engage with creation. And you should find fodder in that aqidah. Allah is always doing things. And what's He doing? He's doing things for us. He's always engaged in maintaining, preserving the sun, the moon, the stars, the earth, everything in this world. He's engaged in keeping our bodies engaged. Yeah, just to keep one body alive, it takes so much. But He's keeping billions of people alive constantly. So He's super, super dynamic. When you believe in this type of Lord and Creator, then you have reassurances and you are secure. Allah is doing everything. He is the Rabb of everything, everyone. He's also my Rabb, so He will take care of me. It brings a certain proximity into you that Allah is close to me. He's always engaged in looking after me. He does not desert me for a moment. If He deserts me for a moment, I will cease to exist. So that should create a certain amount of love, respect, honor, awe for Allah at all times. That He's not on some shelf somewhere in the heavens, lying down or sleeping or engaging in something. He's always that way. So now, under that, or behind that backdrop, or in front of that backdrop, you understand the next ayah. The next ayah is سَنَفْرُغُ لَكُمْ أَيُّهَا الثَّقَلَانِ. We will vacate for you, O you two that are heavy ones. Thaqalan, as I mentioned, it refers to the jinn and the ins, because they are Allah's heavy creation. They are burdened with taklif, and so on. They're always gravitating towards their nafs and so on. So they're heavy in terms of, the Prophet used the words to describe the Quran and the Sunnah also. They're heavy in terms of knowledge, weight and implication. Here it means the jinn and ins. Allah is saying, we will vacate for you, we will make ourselves available for you, O jinn and ins. Meaning on the day of judgment, our affair will be only to judge you. Will be exclusively focused on you because it is your hisab, it is your auditing, it is your accountability. So on that day, our shan will be just for you. So we will be looking at you, monitoring you, assessing you, processing you, judging you, which obviously is another dimension of, what do you call it, that you can do things, so many things at one time. A very dynamic process at the day of judgment, but it will be for you. So for you, you should be able to understand, appreciate فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ, which one of the favors of your Lord do you deny? Accountability, hisab, is also a favor, that you know where you're going. Knowing your destiny is much better, especially if you're hoping for Allah's fadl. Suspense obviously kills you. Not knowing what's going to happen to you is another form of punishment. Yeah. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, we will then vacate ourselves for you, we will inform you of your hisab, and then we'll be engaged. Yeah. So now here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala turns our attention to something very different. What is different is that you always want to speculate about the heavens and the earth. You want to explore the earth and you want to explore the heavens. You're always curious about what's out there in space. Always probing. You make telescopes, you send space shuttles and everything else just to see what's out there. You're curious, and obviously curiosity kills the cat. But it's not just the heavens. This ayah speaks about the earth. That you're curious about the earth also. And you go out there and you explore and you discover and you find things that you did not know before. You go into the seas, you go into the mountains, you go into the desert. It's all about exploration. And so this is a ni'mah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed in human beings, that they always want to know something they don't know. Okay, the quest in every human being is that I want to know more. It's a natural phenomenon. Everybody has it. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that if your quest is to go out there and find frontiers, okay, يا معشر الجن والإنس إن استطعتم أن تنفذوا من أقطار السماوات والأرض فانفذوا لا تنفذون إلا بسلطان. O community of jinn and ins, if you are able to penetrate the sectors and the spheres of the heavens and the earth, فانفذوا, then go out and do so. فانفذوا, do that. But لا تنفذون إلا بسلطان, you will not be able to penetrate except with sultan, which is now authority and power, as you will see. Overwhelming power. Sultan is the king, the ruler. So you need sultan in order to be able to do that. But here, the intriguing thing is not just the heavens. It's the earth also. Everybody wants to focus on the heavens, send the spaceships to Pluto and see what's there. But it's also on earth. People have campaigns, explorations, and they have journeys to explore what's on earth, in the sea, everywhere. So this is a kind of constant campaign by human beings to go out, understand, see, know, learn, then manipulate. So likewise, in the heavens, you want to go out there and see, detect, discover, and then manipulate if you want to do. Yeah, illa bismillah. You're not able to do so except with absolute authority and power. Now, this might suggest that there is a power there which can take you there. There is authority there which can take you there. So this is man. Okay, this is how man is designed this way. He's always going to do this. Obviously, the other thing is that are you spending or wasting billions of dollars in this exploration? That's the bigger question. What are you going to do when you find there's water on Mars? What are you going to do? Bring it back to Earth and drink it? Or are you going to exploit it, manipulate it, and then use it to hurt human beings? Because that's who you are and that's what you are. Human beings don't have the ability to be the Rahman. The Rahman is all compassionate. When he gives you something, it is for your benefit. When you discover something, you destroy it. That's just the way you are. Okay? Because you have a nafs, and your nafs won't be tamed in any way, shape, or form for you to do what the Rahman does. So the Rahman, he has compassion. He will give beneficence. And he will help human beings. He won't hurt human beings. Okay? So the challenge is here. Allah is challenging everybody that you should go out and do this. I mean, the challenge here is, it's hypothetical. It's not real. Allah isn't giving you permission to do this. Because he says, "La tanfuduna illa bisultan." You won't be able to do it. Yes, it's all in vain. So billions and billions of dollars are wasted or spent in this kind of space exploration, research, and all of that. And then you say the world is dying of hunger. Hello? Why is the world dying of hunger? Because you're wasting, misappropriating funds that you should be appropriating to feed people and do other things for people. So you're not the Rahman. So get over and get off your donkey that you're riding. Come down to earth where you belong. So this is how we do this. Anyway, but man will be man. He'll do what he wants to do. And the Quran is now extending the challenge. Do what you think you can do, but you won't get to where you think you can get to. There's no final frontier in space. There's nothing called a final frontier in space. You'll just continue endlessly until time meets its fate, and then day of judgment comes, and then you'll see what's out there beyond the heavens. You have to wait and see for that. You have to believe in Allah, His might, His power, and so on. There's one footnote about the word sultan, which is Arabic 200 level. I'm not supposed to tell you what that is because you need to be in Arabic at least 300 to understand. But, since you're sitting here, mashallah, we'll give you something. The word sultan, when you do the etymology of it in the Arabic language, is usually used for something like the zayt. Ma yudha'u bihi. Anything that you use to light and gain light from it is called sultan in the original meaning of the word in the dictionary. Yeah, so they would call the oil that you use to burn, candle, the other forms of light. Any oil used, kullu zaytin yustada'u bihi. Any zayt, any oil that you use for light and maybe for heat also. Allah. But anyway, that's how the word is in sultan here. Sultan here means authority. You want to now make qiyas on the lughawi meaning, the original literal meaning, to what's used in our urf today, in our custom, in our language, and that would then refer to zayt is oil. So how do you transport yourself? You transport yourself through oil, kerosene, rocket fuel, and you have fuel in your car and your engine and in anything that you use as a means of travel, you will need oil. And the original meaning of the word sultan is oil that's used for light. So you can see that the Quran's mu'jiza is that we've given you a source of sultan which you use for your spaceships and for your modes and means of travel. But despite that, you won't be able to reach the final frontier. Anyway, that's why I said that you won't understand the beauty of the Quran until you know the Arabic. If you don't know the Arabic, you don't. So here the overwhelming authority is okay, it's a general translation. It will pass as a correct translation. It won't pass as an accurate translation. The one translation you have in your copy of the Quran, the translation there. It is a correct one. It's not an accurate one. For the accurate translation, you need Arabic at a high level, a very deep level of Arabic to get there. Anyway, I'm trying to entice you to sign up for Arabic 101 here. I'm trying to recruit you guys. Don't be so lazy. Come and learn Arabic. That's your quest for more knowledge. Anyway, alhamdulillah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes the challenge and then He gives you the means by which you might be able to take on the challenge. But even if He gives you the means, you won't get there. You'll fail. So Allah says, yeah. Anyway. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ, which one of the bounties of your Lord do you then deny? We don't deny any one of your favors, Ya Rabb Insan. يُرْسَلُ عَلَيْكُمَا شُوَاظٌ مِّن نَارٍ وَنُحَاسٌ فَلَا تَنْتَصِرَانِ. There might be a time that if you do cross the final frontier, if there ever is one, then what's going to happen is that you will be met with missiles. Yeah. Right. As the Quran says, Sūrah al-Mulk. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that shu'ad, which is fire, burning fire, flares of fire will be now sent upon you. Shu'ad is fire without what do you call it? Without smokeless fire. Smokeless fire. Flames of smokeless fire will be hurled against you. وَنُحَاسٌ, and then flames of now smoke, fire filled with smoke. Nuhas is fire that is filled with smoke. Shu'ad is fire, is smokeless fire. There are two types of fire. One is that is going to be dense, and the other is going to be very subtle. Dense fire, flames of fire, and very subtle flames of fire will be hurled against you. فَلَا تَنْتَصِرَانِ, and then you will not be assisted. You will not be. No one will come to your rescue. You'll be in burning and kind of punishing, fierce kind of approach attitude that you can't go anywhere near the final frontier. Yeah. Which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protects the heavens. So the heavens is a shelter. It's guarded. And it has security. You can't go there without Iman. If you have Iman and you're Jibreel, alayhi salam, then you may take your companion, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the angels who are guards there, they will open the huge gates of the heavens and you may enter. That is the Sultan that Allah is referring to. That is the true Sultan, the divine authority that is in the spiritual world, where you don't need fire, which is what Sultan gives you. You need nur, which Allah gives you. Right? Yes, if you go there, you won't be able to go past the gates. The guards are just too ferocious and they're all alert. So you can't go there. You won't find anything there that is going to be of your benefit. In fact, you'll be punished if you go there. So this is what the Quran says now. Scientists and physicists may say this is all baloney. We don't believe any of that. And you say, why don't you try it? Why don't you just try it and see how you get there. So anyway, man's pursuit for vanity exceeds his pursuit for knowledge. He's all vain. Which one of the favors of your Lord then do you deny? We don't deny any of the favors of our Lord. Ya Rabb, and then this is what is the favor. The favor there is that the heavens are protected. Okay, from whom? From human beings and devils. Because the jinn also go there. The jinn always want to go and penetrate the heavens, as you know from the hadith. And they're always punished with missiles and, shooting stars and meteorites and all of that. So that is how the protection. Can you imagine the protection? Now these idiots now, they're bombing the moon. Why the heck do you want to bomb the moon for? So destructive. That's what man does. You go, imagine if man was able to go past Pluto into the other universe, God forbid, it'd be all chaos. They'll take their nuclear bombs there and test them there, and see what happens. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, his protection of the saqfan mahfuzan, okay, the protected roof, Allah calls it, is to protect human beings from themselves, from their moronic behavior. So this is the favor of Allah that He does this to protect us. فَإِذَا انشَقَّتِ السَّمَاءُ فَكَانَتْ وَرْدَةً كَالدِّهَانِ. There is a time an occasion when the heavens will be split. As in the السَّمَاءُ انشَقَّتْ, when the heavens will be split asunder. So that's the day of judgment. So when Allah decides that the hour has come for the universe to cave in and for the universe to now be destroyed and uncreated and recreated, then at that time there will be a spectacle which not too many people will see. The angels who are there, they'll see it. So the time when the heaven will be split. At that time, if you are there, what will you see? You'll see this amazing spectacle of red and redness like a rose. Wardatan, a rose, the petals open up and all you see is redness and redness out of anger. The Mufassirun say the redness represents the anger of the day of judgment. فَكَانَتْ وَرْدَةً كَالدِّهَانِ, with thick flowing cream, duhun. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that this is how the heavens will split asunder at the time when Allah decides that will happen. When the universe comes to its term and death comes upon everything that exists, except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. At that time there will be a spectacle, a grand spectacle, which people believe they see when they look at the Milky Way and the galaxy. They see that red cloud and the red rose and all of that. I'm not sure that's what it is. It might be some other spectacular, occasion in space, but it's not what this ayah is referring to. So don't use this ayah to justify that. Don't do that. And that's a misappropriation of ayah. Is now you're not putting the ayah in the right context. That's the wrong tafsīr. It may be that it's red and it's like a rose, which you see pictures. If you go to NASA, you'll see all these pictures of colors and colors and colors. It's a huge spectacle. People assume that it is an explanation of this ayah, and they use this ayah to prove something which is scientific. You don't do that. We don't need science to prove the Quran. That is a false foundation. Don't do it. The Quran is haqq regardless of what science says. It might be that there's a resemblance to the occasion and the moment and whatever happens in the heavens, but definitely is not the day of judgment. If it was the day of judgment, we wouldn't be here. Right? Yeah. The day of judgment, if it's happened, we would not be here. So you can't superimpose something that is not relevant, not in line with our reality, at least. Which one of the favors of your Lord are you then going to deny? We don't deny any of the favors of our Lord. What is the favor there? The favor there is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the power to create whatever He creates, and He should now be intimidated by His power. This ayah is for intimidation. So being intimidated is a favor also, that you're left in awe and you don't dare challenge Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it prevents you from being stupid. Basically, that's the favor. فَيَوْمَئِذٍ لَا يُسْأَلُ عَنْ ذَنْبِهِ إِنسٌ وَلَا جَانٌ. So on that day, the day of judgment, no human nor any jinn will be questioned about his sin, asked about his sin, because the sin will be so apparent, as in the next ayah, on the faces of the criminals that they won't need to ask. They'll see the people who are sinners and they'll know. They won't need to ask. Yeah, they go into customs and the customs people ask you, what did you bring? And you say nothing. Then there's a question there. Yeah, the angels, when the angels are with the criminals, the sinners, they already know what they're. Why? Because there will be signs on their faces and there will be the book of deeds which the angels will have. So they'll already know which sin everybody has created. So that day, no one will be questioned about their sin. They won't need to be, which is another intimidating ayah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already knows, and when you already know, then the criminal has no way to escape. If the officer already knows, then he is just intimidating you. Obviously, there's no need for that. And this is even more intimidating that we can't escape. Say, if there's a hisab, then maybe we can wriggle our way out of the hisab. No, you won't have the opportunity to do so. So, فَيَوْمَئِذٍ لَا يُسْأَلُ عَنْ ذَنْبِهِ إِنسٌ وَلَا جَانٌ فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. يُعْرَفُ الْمُجْرِمُونَ بِسِيمَاهُمْ. The criminals will be recognized with their marks. Bisima. All the visible marks will be on them. Meaning that everything's visible to the angel. The angel knows. Allah gives the angels on the day of judgment that knowledge of hisab and accountability and the auditing process. They'll have the ability. They'll be given that knowledge by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is possible. That your sins are wiped away when you make wudu. Right? When you make wudu, your sins are wiped. When you wash your hands, the sins committed by the hands, they're wiped away. When you wash your arms, the sins committed by the arms, they're washed away. When you wash your face, the sin committed by the face, they're washed away. When you do masah, the sins committed by the head and the hair is wiped away. And when you wash your feet, the sins committed by the feet, they are washed away. This is a hadith. Everybody's sins are wiped away. Meaning all the minor sins. And the major sins through tawbah, they are wiped away. But every wudu water from each limb has a specific color based on the sin that that organ commits. It has a specific color. There's not a proof for that, but Abu Hanifa rahimahullah would see the color of the filth coming out from the wudu water. He had this gush. Then Allah took it away from him after he made dua for him. So he would tell people, hey, stop doing this, stop doing this. As he's making wudu there with everybody, hey, stop doing this, stop doing this, stop doing this. People will be surprised, why? How do you know? I know from the filthy water that's coming out from your organ. It has a color, it's an effect. So likewise, the angels will know which sin this one person. Where are you going to see the sima, the mark? Okay. So it's like your QR code, right? You open it up and everything's exposed. So the angels will have the ability to open you up and just see right through you microscopically. That's the knowledge the angels have, the ability that the angels have. So the angels are not pussycats. So I'll be with an angel, I'll be okay. No, he'll whack you. The angels of adab, punishment, they're not very nice. They're very rough. Yeah. So anyway, this is the occasion for human beings to think, contemplate. All my sins are on me. They're visible on me. Those who have the ability to see sins, they know. And they see that. And then they don't need to ask. They already know. So this is now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bringing out his now Rahmaniyah. What is now this? This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala expressing his knowledge of you and your actions, which is a favor. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Rahmaniyah. He's being the Rahman, is showing you and informing you the immense microscopic knowledge that he has and the immense microscopic knowledge that angels have. So it's about knowledge and knowing and then reflecting and introspect that how much does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cover my sins in this world, which is a huge ni'mah. So human beings must wake up to the reality that Allah is the Rahman, and through his Rahmaniyah, he expresses everything. And he expresses our sins too. He opens them up. He reveals them, which is now the power of the Rahman. So again, as I mentioned before, you must not assume that the Sūrah al-Raḥmān is all about Rahmah. Allah is the Rahman, there is Rahman there. But it's not all about being kind and nice to you, gentle to you. Okay, as this ayah shows you. He will not let go of the reality of human beings' hisab. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, through his Rahmaniyah, so the playing field is equal. And the criminal must be now judged, and the sinner must be punished. That is his justice. That is his Rahman. He is being kind and generous by doing this, because then, God forbid, have you heard of the expression, you get away with murder? This is the day when you won't get away with murder. You will be judged. Allah will catch you, as in the next ayah. Allah will just catch you. Hey, you did this. You are guilty of abusing people. You are guilty of cheating, lying, deceiving, robbing, stealing. And you are guilty of murder, and you are guilty of inequities and injustices. That's why the word mujrim is used, criminal. So those sins become criminal in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's knowledge. So Allah will expose the crimes of all criminals, which is a huge rahmah for those who are the victims of those crimes. Right? You didn't know who killed your brother? On the day of judgment, you'll get to know. He'll be right there in front of you. Allah will punish you, punish him in front of you also. So this is a rahmah. So there's a divine rahmah. Is very different from what human beings think is now divine rahmah. Divine rahmah is very expansive. It includes everything. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. فَيُؤْخَذُ بِالنَّوَاصِي وَالْأَقْدَامِ. As I mentioned, that they will be then dragged and captured with their foreheads and with their feet. Okay. The angels will grab them with their forehead and with their feet, and they'll hurl them and they'll drag them. وَنَسُوقُ الْمُجْرِمِينَ يَوْمَئِذٍ إِلَى النَّارِ. that we will drag them, the mujrim, into the fire. This Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's justice, that you think you can get away with now being unjust to people, and you victimize everybody you can victimize, and there's no justice, and so on. So here Allah is saying to those who are victims that be patient. A day will come when you'll be vindicated. That vindication is Allah's rahmah. That vindication is Allah's rahmah to you. Yeah, so the perpetrator doesn't get off free. He has to pay for his punishment, his crime, and everything else, so that they'll be captured in front of all people. يُؤْخَذُ فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. Which one of the favors of your Lord then do you deny? We don't deny any of the favors of our Lord. You can see now Allah is now expressing now justice. So Rahman is about bayan, as I mentioned. This is Allah's bayan, expression of the ultimate reality on that particular day, which is the day of judgment. هذه جهنم التي يكذب بها المجرمون. This is the Jahannam which the criminals denied. Meaning the criminals always thought that they can escape trial, persecution, jail time, or even death. But that, instead of that, they have Jahannam. So Jahannam will be the place where people will be taken if they have not been given kind of compensation in the world, and so on. Or they have escaped now justice in the world. So these are mujrimun, the criminals. يطوفون بينها وبين حميم آن. So between them, or they will be making, a movement and tawaf. There'll be something, a intensely scalding fluid and very hot water and boiling water will now come in between them. So they will have to go through the boiling hot water in order to get to their destination. Their destination is even further away in Jahannam, which is more fire. Right? So this is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make them go through lesser punishment and then take them into major punishment. Allah will increase their punishment step by step. This is how Allah brings out His bayan and expresses His creativity, that this is the way that Allah is warning you that you have to be careful how you live your life. If you're not careful, then there's divine punishment right around the corner. Unfortunately, Allah save us all. So this Hamim is a very boiling water. So here, the point of Sūrah al-Raḥmān is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creates so many different forms of in'amat, blessings in the world, on the land, on the sea, in the heavens, within human beings, and also with outside of human beings. There are just so many blessings Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala offers all the time. He's always offering blessings here in this world. فَعَالٌ لِمَا يُرِيدُ and كُلَّ يَوْمٍ هُوَ فِي شَأْنٍ. He's always engaged in providing blessings and ni'am, gifts to all human beings, and they're all free. Most of them, they're free. And human beings, they take advantage of those ni'mah, and they use them in a way that is useful, beneficial for them in this world, and also reap benefit from them in the other worlds. So the idea of tawfiq, obviously, which is another ni'mah. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it clear that this is not a license to do anything you want with Allah's ni'am, Allah's blessings, because there are repercussions if you abuse them. If you abuse Allah's ni'mah, this is now the punishment. So Allah warns us of a potential punishment so that we will take heed and we would fear Him and fear His punishment. That is a greater ni'mah than all the other worldly ni'mah that Allah has already expressed them. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. So which one of the favors of your Lord are you now going to deny? We don't deny any of the favors of our Lord. So this passage is full of intimidating news and information, and human beings must be intimidated if you want to keep them in check and balance. So there's an order there. There's a mizan, which is mentioned in the first part. وَوَضَعَ الْمِيزَانَ. Allah keeps the balance. He places the balance. So this is the balance. Whereas the balance will be that Allah has one beautiful names, al-asma al-husna and asma al-jamaliyah. Allah's names are Jamali and they're also Jalali. They're also magnificent and they're majestic and they're powerful and they're intimidating and overwhelming. So as Muslims, our aqidah is that the Rahman has both types of names. The Jamali, the beautiful ones that sound beautiful, and the Jalali, those that are intimidating. We don't, weigh one type of name and make it heavier than the other type. That's the divine balance. Ar-Rahman al-Arsh istawa. I mean, all the names are there and they balance out on the divine Arsh. The Arsh is now stable, it's not lopsided. So this is now our understanding, our aqidah, which is the correct one, which is the only one about the divine you can hold. There's another aqidah which is in vogue, held by mostly Christians, and unfortunately nowadays even some Muslims fall into that trap. Allah's names are beautiful, Asma al-Husna. Oh, that is incomplete aqidah. That is a naqis aqidah. It's not the right one. Allah has Jalali names as well as Jamali names. So you have to be aware of His names that are intimidating, overwhelming, that He is able to punish if He chooses to. That's how you keep yourself in check and balance, because you kept the divine in balance, then your aqidah is in balance. But if you keep the divine out of balance and He has no equilibrium in your mind, He only has good names. He's kind and forgiving and merciful, but you forget about the other names. Then your aqidah is messed up. And then you have a crooked aqidah, which is bid'ah, and bid'ah takes you to hell, basically. So yeah. So why do you want to mention Jahannam to our kids? Do you not mention cancer to your kids? If somebody's in hospital and you say this guy has cancer, do you hide that from your children? Cancer is so horrible, devastating. We shouldn't talk about these things. Why not? You understand what I'm saying? The vanity of people, they're totally absurd that you don't mention things that are gross. But they're real. You mentioned haqiqah, reality. There is a Jannah and there's a Jahannam. You can't hide Jahannam. Otherwise, there'd be no point to prophethood. Allah doesn't hide Jahannam. Even in Sūrah al-Raḥmān, He doesn't hide Jahannam. He speaks about it. That's the lesson for the Muslims. Don't blame your kids because you don't want to face up to the reality of Jahannam. If you face up to the reality of Jahannam, you definitely will protect your kids from Jahannam. You'll mention it everywhere. They're a bit more resilient than you think. They're not cowards and they're not sissies. They'll take it from you. So you have to mention the Jalal, which is the majesty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as well as the Jamal, which is the beauty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It'll make you and your children better Muslims. It'll make you and your children stronger Muslims. So don't shy away from it, because you have this distorted aqidah of Allah. Allah is very kind and merciful. Definitely He's kind and merciful, and we want kindness and mercy and forgiveness for us. Allah give us all that, inshallah. But the reality is that we have to represent Allah the way Allah represents Himself. And this is the way Allah represents Himself. So why shy away from the truth? The truth has to be exposed, and people must know what is the truth. And if you don't expose the truth, then you say you're guilty of concealing the truth and hiding the truth. You can't have it both ways. Because this is how. This is the ala, the favor that Allah is now representing, explaining, expressing in this surah, that you must check yourselves. You mustn't commit sin. And God forbid if you do, then you must make tawbah, so that Allah covers your sin here and on the day of judgment, so that you then, Allah will forgive you by not exposing your sin. Inshallah. Yeah, so this is the way forward for Muslims when they read the Quran. That the Quran is a book of reality, so don't hide reality because of your own insecurities. Deal with your insecurities and then read the Quran. Deal with your doubt and skepticism before you read the Quran. Don't bring your insecurity and skepticism into the Quran. Bring about a sense of balance, mizan. Any, Allah give us tawfiq and accept us all. We'll continue next time, inshallah. جزاكم الله خير. سبحان الله وبحمده. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك. نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك. والحمد لله.